The fighting in Afghanistan has come close to the heart of the capital. A car bomb explosion followed by several blasts and rapid gunfire rocked Kabul on Tuesday night. The Taliban has claimed responsibility for this attack and warned that there would be more such attacks against top Afghan officials. While the fighting so far has been relegated to rural areas, the Tuesday night attack took place not far from the Green Zone, which happens to be a heavily fortified area that houses several government officials and embassies, including the US mission. At least 4 people were killed in the attack. The Interior Ministry officials said that the attack seemed to target the acting Defense Minister's home. Bismillah Mohammadi, Afghanistan's acting Defense Minister, said that neither he nor his family members were hurt, though several of the bodyguards were wounded.
A suicide attack carried out by wild terrorists targeted my residential house. During the incident, by the grace of God, neither me nor my family members were hurt, but unfortunately a number of my bodyguards were wounded. I assure my beloved countrymen that such attacks cannot have any impact on my willingness to defend my countrymen and my country.
A Kabul police spokesperson said that at least 30 civilians had been rescued from the blast site, and the city's emergency hospital said in a tweet it had so far received 11 people wounded in the attack. The United States condemned the killing and called on the Taliban to immediately end the violence.
We unequivocally condemn the bombing, and we continue to stand by our partners, our Afghan partners. We join in calling on the Taliban and all parties to immediately end the violence, to agree to a permanent and comprehensive ceasefire, and engage fully in peace negotiations to end the suffering of the Afghan people.
The attack comes as the Taliban gained control over several key provincial capitals in the country. These are Lashkar-Gah, Kandahar and Herat. The latest provincial capital under attack is Lashkar-Gah. It is a huge strategic defeat for the government, which had pledged to defend strategic centres. Afghan forces appealed to residents of Lashkar-Gah to vacate as the fighting continued to regain control of the city. The Afghan government launched airstrikes backed by the United States in a desperate attempt to defend the city. The fall of Lashkar-Gah would be a major turning point in the offensive that the Taliban has waged over the past few months. If the Taliban succeeds, it would be the first provincial capital to be captured by the terror group in recent years. Now, according to the United Nations, at least 40 civilians have already been killed in the crossfire. As fighting intensifies, the United States on Tuesday admitted that one of the many reasons or concerns about Afghanistan is that it could spiral into civil war. Since the US and NATO allies had begun withdrawing their troops from the country, violence has only escalated as the Taliban has now launched an offensive to gain more territories in the country.
Look, we're going to be looking to their actions. They have said that they see the utility of a negotiated solution. They are engaged in Doha. But the simple point remains that if they attempt and seek to do otherwise, if they seek to contravene what they have said, then they will be an international pariah. They won't have the support of their people. They won't have the support of the international community. And the concern on the part of all of us, one of many concerns, is that the result will be civil war. Will be a civil war in which the Afghan people do not have and won't be in a position to achieve the safety and security in which they deserve to live.
Our correspondent Anas Malik, who is in Kabul right now, has sent us more details in this next report. Take a look.
I'm standing at the incident site of the Kabul blast that took place, that literally shook Kabul last night. This is the house of the Afghan Defense Minister Bismillah Mohammadi that was targeted. A suicide bomber in a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device rammed his vehicle. That was followed by at least 4 men storming the house. You can see the damage that was inflicted upon. The houses are completely damaged. At least 35 civilians were said to be evacuated safely by the Afghan National Defense Security Forces. The siege lasted for about 4.5 hours. We saw multiple explosions afterwards coming in. After the first powerful explosion that shook Kabul, at least 10 people are now said to have been killed in this act of terror. And Afghan National Defense Security Forces say that they would not be deterred by such acts of terror. Anas Malik in Kabul, Afghanistan, for WION World is One.
A day after Ibrahim Raisi was sworn in as the 8th president of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, who is deemed as the last Shah of Iran, raised concerns of the deteriorating clerical state of Iran. He said that the administration that toppled his father is now on the brink of crumbling. Not only this, but he further reiterated the Iranians' need for a strong support from the West. Pahlavi, who has been living in exile near Washington, also pointed out to an election turnout rate of 48.8%, which has been the lowest since the 1979 revolution. The exile prince is of the opinion that Western nations, with the help of technology, should circumvent internet restrictions in Iran and develop a strike fund to support workers who wage non-violent civil disobedience in the country.
We have an opportunity to put the final nail in the coffin. And we're not asking the world to do that for us. The people of Iran want to do it, but they need some help.
Pahlavi, like many others, had spoken of the regime crumbling, but he insisted that this time it was different, as forces are just killing people, especially the youngsters who are seeking their rights. However, the former prince clarified that he is not advocating for a regime change led by the US military, but a dialogue with the United States.
That in order to find a solution, especially one that ultimately could be win-win, you cannot hope to obtain any results by not talking to the right people. We're not saying don't talk to the Islamic Republic. You need to have a channel of communication for the sake of diplomacy. We all understand that. But thinking that those who are part of the problem are going to offer you a solution is madness.
And in recent years, Iranians have voiced nostalgia for the Pahlavi dynasty, reminiscing an era when oil-producing Iran was rapidly developing and enjoyed warm relations with the West. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.